Good afternoon. So I'm just getting in from lawns and wanted to give you an update on how the lithium battery went. Let me turn off my flashers. It's hell getting in and out of this area. The traffic patterns here are so bad, but just putting the mowing rig away and getting into some other work I got to do. Anyway, the battery worked out great. Started, stopped, engaged clutch all day long, no problems. Where the battery is hang on a sec. It's in the panel. It's in here. It's only about like this big by this big, and I put it in there. So the battery tray down in here is empty. So anyway, I caught myself and my brain started working at the last second, and thank God it did. I was about to order 2 more of those batteries, and they're like almost $100 a piece. And it might be a good idea in that you can have one in your glove box in case that one fails or something. Because once you trim your wiring down, you can't just go to Walmart and buy a lead acid battery, long garden battery, and pop it in there, because your wires won't reach to it, you know. So once you kind of make that switch, you're committed. Now, I want to say the performance of the machine was surprising in that it seemed like I could turn a lot quicker. It seemed like I was able to pull the front wheels up a lot more. Now, a lot of that is the 3.5 PSI, the big fat tires, and you know, on the sandy soil we have around here, that's not normal. So this thing is turning quick as can be, and I'm happy with that. A lot of that has to do with taking off the weight in the front, but the battery was kind of midship, and I think overall mass reduction is helping to some degree, both on the transport side, the loading side, and the performance of the machine. It's all a learning process for me. Now, why is it I didn't want to go ahead and order 2 more batteries at the last second? I decided not to, is because what I realized is I don't want to have a battery at all. Well, how do you do that? I don't even want to have a charging system, and I don't want to have a clutch, a PTO clutch. So to get around those things, you'd have to have a recoil start on your motor. I at least want to outfit one of my machines this way, because if you know what hits the fan and supply chains break down, then you know the more of these intricate components that you have that you can't replicate at home, then the more that you are tethered and dependent on supply chain. So the concept behind it is Dixie Chopper did it for years. Instead of a PTO clutch, you have 2 pulleys arranged like this. Now, if you can imagine, if those 2 pulleys were on a plate and it could rotate, then that belt would release tension, and then they have a pole that comes up and a lever, and I love that setup because you didn't have an electric clutch at all that way. So when you get rid of the electric PTO, half of your power requirements in your charging system are gone. Okay, now what that leaves you with, what do you need the stator for, and the voltage regulator and all that BS that is all problematic and stuff that could break down. The only thing that you're left with is the starter to get the machine running. Now, I do have one other issue in that I've been turning on and off the engine with the fuel point. So unless I have a workaround on the fuel point, I can't go completely wireless and batteryless. That being said, I'm not opposed to having the old school setup of where you turn your fuel off with a valve and let it run out. And that does effectively, well, it would do what I'm using the fuel point for. The fuel point is supposed to be an anti-backfire pin. I don't know exactly how that works, and I don't even care. Okay, but what it does in practice is when there's not a 12 volt supplied to that coil, that solenoid, to pull open the pin then no fuel can get into the carburetor bowl, etc., etc. I don't care about none of that. I'll do it old school. I want at least one of my machines that, come hell or high water, no matter what happens with supply chain issues, it'll run. The battery, I don't have to worry about a battery going dead. I don't have to worry about a charging system failing. Nothing. If I got a old clapped out motor on there that I can put a pull start recoil on, and if I can get it, if I keep my engine tuned properly, then I want to at least have one machine that's set up like that. And then with that, you have enormous weight reduction. The clutches, I use extremes. They're not lightweight, and the stator and all that business. So anyway, I may order one more battery, but I'm not going to do like I normally do and change all my machines to keep all my machines the same. Now that's paid off for me in the past, because like when I went to the larger tires, there was almost a 2-year period where I couldn't get the 15-inch tires anymore, and I ran up into a culvert that was covered with weeds and grass and sliced open the sidewall of one of my tires. Now I'm wanting to do a experiment and see if flex tape or something can seal that sidewall from the inside with the air pressure pushing out, and if it worked. So but anyway, as with my normal way of doing things, I had extra tires off of the other mowers. I can't drive all the mowers at once, so I just pulled a whole wheel off of one of the other ones, and I was back to running with because you end up with a machine you prefer over the others, you know what I mean? All right, so the update is the lithium battery worked great the whole first day. I know that's not the information that you might want, and that you want to know how it works over a longer period of time, but that's all I have to tell you at the moment, and if anything changes, I will give you an update. The only thing I did do, I was worried about moisture, because you see a lithium battery has a chip usually that monitors the individual cells, and it's a little more complicated than a lead acid. So I had to, or I felt like I needed to put some sealing tape around this one part of the battery, and I can't show it to you because it's inside the console there, to make sure that moisture wasn't able to get into that area of the battery. So, all right, y'all have a good day and good weekend.